Thanks for the support as a channel member, Martin Cooper. Well, today we've got ourselves in a position I didn't expect us to be in when the Champions League groups were drawn. But if we can go to Italy and win, which I hear is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do, but if we can, we'll win this group with a perfect 6 wins from 6 record, which that'll do nicely. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 26 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our final group game in the Champions League away against Juventus and also a Premier League game away against West Brom. Since you were last with me, form is continuing to be really rather good. We absolutely smashed Celtic in the Champions League 6-1. We've also beaten Chelsea in the league. The league situation, this is what it looks like as we are getting closer and closer to the halfway point of the season. We are still in touching distance of Arsenal at the top of the league, but the most important thing is we are finding ourselves in a Champions League qualification spot at the moment. Third in the league, 16 games played, 35 points on the board. We have the top scorer in the league, Wesley Fernando, proving that he was worth every penny of the £88 million we spent on him in the summer. Vermonti, who we spent a similar amount on, £96 million on Vermonti, is currently the highest average rating player in the Premier League. I think it's safe to say those two were some pretty useful signings, and hopefully we can continue in this excellent run of form. But we are away against Juventus today, which means we are playing our more defensive version of our diamond tactic. As you can see, look like a real football manager. I've even got my tactics saved now. I've got my attacking one and my more defensive one. All it really does is drops the defensive midfielder back, drops the fullback back a little bit. Is this really the team that Pasquev is planning on playing in this game? This can't be the team we played against Watford. No, Pasquev last night in his wisdom has genuinely decided this is the team to send away from home against Juventus. I guess he's thinking in terms of rotation. Do we agree with Pasquev here? This looks like a team that's going to get absolutely battered. But I guess it gives Jadon Sancho another opportunity to play as a striker, which he has been doing a little bit lately. He didn't like being trained as an attacking midfielder. I got that message come up saying he'll never improve beyond an accomplished attacking midfielder. So we're now training him to be a striker, which he is competent at. And to be fair, looking at attributes, there's nothing there that says he can't be a very, very good advanced forward. Just he needs time and games there. So I guess there's the thinking. Let's give him more games there. So we'll go with this team. Pasquev obviously knows what he's doing. We've got Francisco in goal, a back four of Azzopardi, Milenkovic, Banfalvi and Kawamata, Van Houston at the base of the midfield, Gravenberch and Foderingham ahead of him, Gibbs White then behind Fernando and Sancho up front. Let's get into the game. I don't know what Pasquev is up to here. If this team works, then Pasquev is some kind of genius. We've got two players playing out of position and not really much in the way of our first choice players in any of the other positions. I guess Fernando, Banfalvi, Gravenberch. In fact, to be fair, apart from Van Houston and Sancho being in the team, it's not that silly a team selection. And there is logic behind playing Sancho there, because we're trying to trade him to be a striker and this game effectively means nothing. So I guess there's a logic for playing Sancho. The Van Houston thing doesn't make a lot of sense, though. We've got several players who can play as defensive midfielder. I guess they both have played a lot of football in Vermonti and Vargas. They both play most games. So I guess they could both do with a little bit of a rest. But Van Houston doesn't seem like the most obvious option to play there. But I'm sure he'll prove us wrong today and score a hat-trick from defensive midfield, or something along those lines. Kawamata's done brilliantly there to intercept, plays it into the path of Fernando, who can't quite point his shot at the goal, which I think is the technical term for it. Strikers point their shots at the goal. He didn't quite manage it there. Interestingly, Juventus are looking at qualifying from this group with a negative goal difference. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. It shows how well we've played in this group that all of the other three teams are on a negative goal difference because we've been thumping them. But it seems mad that a team can qualify for the knockout rounds of the Champions League on a negative goal difference. It shouldn't be allowed. They're obviously playing far too defensively, scraping their wins where they get them and getting battered when they don't get their wins, which seems like very negative It's Italian football, isn't it? I believe that's how they play in Italy. Right, Dave Azzopardi again missing an important header, and Gus Till, who I think was a player that we had in the very short-lived Twitch save that I did around about the time FM20 came out. I think he was part of. Would he have been at Club Bruges? Would he have been at? Who did we manage in the Netherlands? We managed someone in the Netherlands as well. I feel like I managed Till earlier on in FM20 though. In fact, we could just look at him and see who he would have been playing for. So were we at AZ Alkmaar? I think we did manage them at one point. So that must be where I managed him. The save didn't last very long because Twitch streaming didn't last very long for me this year. Don't want to talk about it. I don't have time to Twitch stream. I'm making 2 videos a day every day. I don't have time to stream. Right, Azzopardi, back to Milenkovic, and then probably back to Azzopardi again. In fact, it comes across to Banfalvi, who plays it forward to Van Houston, who, as a deep-lying playmaker, finds Kawamata, but it goes all the way back to Van Houston. Remember, we are playing our more cautious system, which we will change up at half-time if we're still losing. If we can grab a goal here, though, then the system is working. We're supposed to just not lose when we play this tactic. That is a terrible pass. It falls to Fernando and Sancho, and between the two of them, it was like neither of them really wanted to take the shot on, and Fernando eventually took responsibility, but it was a poor effort from the edge of the area when if they'd have thought about it a little bit more, they could have played one or the other in, and we could have grabbed a goal. We've had 76% of the possession in this first half. It seems like Juventus, despite being at home, are also sitting back. So I guess we're going to play into that if we now attack them in this second half. But that's exactly what we're going to do. We're probably going to get hit on the counter-attack a couple of times. But we have got our superstars. Or that is a very loaded bench. That's about as loaded a bench as you'll ever see in a game of Football Manager. So we've got changes we can make when we need to. But first, we'll see if this lot can sort their lives out. Azzopardi with the cross, looking for Sancho. Doesn't really make it anywhere near him, but Gravenberch intercepts again. Fernando back out to Azzopardi again, who, as usual, trying to bring it inside on his right foot to do that in-swinging cross from this side. Plays it into Gravenberch. Sancho's there, and Jadon Sancho with a 3rd goal of the season. He's looking better as a striker than he has for 2 years in any of the attacking midfield roles, whether that's behind the striker or on either wing. He actually looks like he might have something about him as a striker. So I think this might be the future for Jadon Sancho. If he's going to find a way to resurrect his Tottenham and England careers, Jadon Sancho is going to be a centre forward, boys and girls. Right, I think we drop back now to the more cautious system again, because a 1-1 draw here is absolutely fine. We are going to take Fernando off, who's not a very good game at all. Carlos can come on for him, and Fotheringham can come off in midfield for Vargas, who can just slot in there and play in that Mezzala role that he plays in so very often. Van Houston is tiring. I think we're going to bring Vermonti on for him and just play a more sensible defensive midfielder in there. And just, we'll ask for a little bit of creativity for the last 10 minutes or so. We don't need to go and grab a winner. A draw here is an excellent result, especially with how rotated we were. But, you know, I'm not going to object if we want to go and grab a winning goal. This is a really poor Juventus team. They've not really looked like much of a threat in either of the games we've played against them. And we've just done really well with a very, very rotated team to come away with a draw. So we have finished top of our group. As I think we were already guaranteed top of the group beforehand, but that's, I would suggest, one of the more dominant performances in the group stage. Obviously, Bayern are going to be very happy with what they've done in Group B that involves Barcelona. Man City finished on 16 points as well, as did Inter and Roma. Dortmund and Arsenal both on 15 there, now 16. Juventus are the weakest team who've made it. Oh, in fact, Valencia making it through on 7 points and a negative goal difference. Teams like that shouldn't. Monaco are going to be gutted seeing Juventus and Valencia making it through, when Monaco have been in a group with Man City and Real Madrid and still ended on 9 points and a positive goal difference. They deserve that spot. The whole competition's a fix. Let's go play West Brom. I don't think the draw happens before that match. If it does, I'll show you that though as well. Something a little bit closer to a sensible Premier League team then for the West Brom game. West Brom, who are bottom of the Premier League, so they would have been. They're upset that we had already got our group wrapped up before this game, because obviously if we'd have played a full strength team against Juventus, we'd have played the silly rotated team against West Brom. But hopefully, because we're not doing that, they now no longer stand a chance. We've got Francisco in goal, a back four of Sessegnon, Fotheringham, Banfalvi and Jair. Vermonti at the base of the midfield, Vargas and right ahead of him, Ali behind Carlos and Fernando up front. Now I've bigged it up like that, you can guarantee we're going to lose. This is going to be our first slip up for ages, but hopefully not. I'd like to win this football match, please. We're favourites, go out there and do the reasons of thing. For those of you wondering why I don't seem able to form a sentence, I hurt my back at the gym this morning. As you'll know if you follow me on Twitter. Shut up, Siri! I hurt my back and I've taken painkillers whenever I take painkillers, because I very, very rarely take any kind of painkillers or anything. Even having a little bit of painkillers just makes me go a little bit loopy. So I think it's all in my head. But it does mean I can't form sentences even when I should be able to. They've just gone down to 10 men, which is lovely stuff. Hopefully that opens the door for us to go and score a big old pile of goals. That's what I'd like very, very much. Sessegnon looking to get the break going, finds Vargas. Vargas, ball over the top for Fernando to chase. Fernando has a lot of space to run into, plays it back to Jair, who's going to do some Jair things on this right-hand side, hopefully. In fact, he doesn't. He just plays it into Vermonti, but then continues his run. But the ball's gone the other way. It's with Carlos and Vargas, and everyone in our attack touched the ball there. It was lovely stuff and deserved a goal, but 'twas not to be. And now West Brom have got a chance to counter-attack on their own, and Banfalvi does very well to come across in cover for Jair, who was off doing Jair things. Considering Banfalvi was already on a yellow card, he's got no fear, is he? He knew he was going to time that tackle perfectly. West Brom again, though, trying to get a counter-attack going, but Fotheringham plays it straight back forward towards Vermonti and Vargas, who just control this midfield beautifully. Vargas dancing through, and I think that hit the crossbar. It seemed to take a huge deflection as it went nearer the goal, and there's definitely a goal coming. We've had 78% of the possession in this game. We've got to be scoring soon, surely. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of possession, but West Brom defending valiantly. And to be fair, we've not created a clear-cut chance. In 45 minutes of constant possession, we've not actually been able to carve out a really good chance. But hopefully, one is about to come. Jair back to Vermonti, who finds Sessegnon. Sessegnon back to Vermonti and Rott. Vermonti again. Rott again. Vermonti again. Vargas now out to Jair, who's got space to do some Jair things, and there is a Jair thing for you. Skips past his man and sticks it into the far bottom corner, right on the stroke of half-time. Only the second goal of the season for Jair, but, you know, it's not often you rely on your right back to score a lot of goals for you, but this is beautiful football. Vargas spots Jair in space, and it is, both with him and Sessegnon, it's like having wingers in the team still. We have got the two best fullbacks in the world, for not for defending, but for basically playing as wingers, and they suit this system perfectly. And I'm very happy with the team we've assembled here at Tottenham, and Jair's in again here, looking to skin his man again, and he does, and he plays it into Fernando, and it's 2-0, and it's the Jair show, boys and girls. A goal and an assist, 2 goals after the 45th minute, but before the stroke of half-time. To be fair, looking at the stats, we absolutely deserve to be 2-0 up after that first half, but it's taken some creative genius from Jair twice. And let's not undersell the Vargas contribution there, because he's played him in. I think he played the pass to Jair both times, so Vargas very much involved as well. But we were biding our time, and then got a taste of blood and just ruined West Brom. Sessegnon now with the in-swinging free kick, Banfalvi with the header, but it is straight at their goalkeeper. This whole thing has moved again. For goodness sake, I want to be able to see the league table so that I can talk about the league table. As it stands, only 3 points off the top of the league, but obviously both Arsenal and Manchester United with games in hand, or a game in hand on us at the moment. But if we keep winning, we keep putting the pressure on, and hopefully they start losing before we do. Jair charging down the right-hand side again. He's having a very good game. Plays it infield to Vermonti. Out to Sessegnon, who's just going to try and do it on the other side. He's going to do Jair things over there. Go on, beat him. Beat him, man. Plays it into Vargas, to Vermonti, to Dele Alli. We've got so many players in attacking positions here. It's ridiculous. And Rott grabs his 3rd goal of the season our third goal of the game. It was really just a case of working the ball around through all of the players that we had camped out on the edge of their area and finding the one that was inevitably going to be in space. And there he was. Dele Alli's in space there. Rott's in even more space over here. And West Brom just don't have enough players to mark all the players we've got forward. Both our fullbacks push forward. Our defensive midfielders stood on the edge of their D. We've just absolutely... It's like a training exercise. Jair back to Rott, who's in space again, finds Vermonti. It was a really poor shot from Vermonti, but I'd like to point out it's from open play and he's stood in their penalty area now. He is our defensive midfield player. It does leave us a little bit susceptible to counter-attacks, but who cares? I'd rather win 8-2 than 3-0. Let's just keep pushing forward, and if we concede a couple of goals along the way, then so be it. Vargas nods it down to Dele Alli, and the break is on again for us, and Fernando is through. He must have been offside. He was so far clear, and I think it has been given as an offside. It would have been the most perfectly timed run in history if he'd have been able to stay onside, but end up with that much of a gap between him and the defenders. Vermonti now to Fotheringham, who's playing centre-back today, remember, but just hovering around up here now. Why not? Vargas, cross comes in, Fernando's there, and it goes just over from Fernando. This is close to being a perfect game of football for us today. And the one thing I would like to see more of, and you can see it in the ratings, I don't remember saying Antonio Carlos at any point. Where is he? In all these attacking moves, where is he? George can come on for him and see if he can get a little bit more involved. And then do we need to change anyone else around fitness-wise? I'm almost tempted to bring Jadon Sancho on again just to give him more time playing up front. But I think what I'll actually do is... Oh, we haven't got Azzopardi on the bench. I wanted to bring him on. We'll take off Vargas, bring on Gravenberch then. Just for the sake of it, really. There's no reason other than the fact that he was on a 7.2, which is one of the lower ratings we've got on there. And it just rotates things around a little bit. Gives players little bits of rest here and there. Gravenberch now with a free kick, and it was a very good one, and their keeper's done very well to keep that out. I guess we do need to be a little bit worried that in amongst all this good football and possession football and shots that we're having, 23 of which have been on target, by the way, we've still only created one clear-cut chance. So there's been lots of moments of individual brilliance, but as a team, we're not really creating very much, which would then become problematic if we were playing against someone a little bit better than West Brom, who are a little bit harder to break down. We're going to bring Rosso on to play with George. I know I said about bringing Sancho on, but Sancho's played more games than Rosso recently, and Rosso's younger and has more potential. So we want to give Rosso just as much game time and just as much chance to prove he's any good as Sancho's getting. Everyone needs their fair share of games. Jair, what a goal from Jair! This has been the Jair show today. This young man is still only 20 years old, and he's just got hold of a Premier League game from right back and just ran the game and torn a team apart. He's scored two very different kinds of goal. We have got a player on our hands there with Jair. He's a bit good, isn't he? How long until we get the Doing Jair Things t-shirt? Because he just keeps doing Jair things. It's ridiculous. Right, we will be back tomorrow. We've got money to spend in January, which is what I was just checking. We will be back tomorrow at the end of the January transfer window. I don't expect to do any business, but then I've got nearly £40 million to spend. So if the right player comes along, we'll obviously add them to the squad. But I need to be a little bit careful about bringing in too many more Brazilians because we are at maximum capacity now, I think. We can't take any more English players out of the squad because it will just start reducing squad size. So I need to be a little bit more selective than I have been so far. But if we can find another Jair, I'm not going to say no, am I? But we'll come back somewhere around here, probably Palace and the Champions League game, and maybe a couple of transfers to show you as well. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.